This is the 190,000-pound DBX 707, the latest evolution of Aston Martin's sports SUV. Thanks to a twin-turbo 4-litre V8 that makes 707 metric horsepower and 900 Newton meters of torque. It sends power to all four wheels, delivers a 0 to 62 time of 3.3 seconds, and will smash 193 miles an hour. This one is all about the numbers. Those numbers make this the fastest, most powerful luxury SUV on the planet ever. But if you're anything like me, you probably want to know what those numbers actually feel like. So, Sport Plus, launch control. Standard car didn't have launch control. Be a shame not to use it. Let's go. That increase in power from 550 to 707 PS and a jump in torque from 700 to 900 Newton meters aren't the only new things to shout about. It also has unique daytime running lights, different bodywork in the form of a new front splitter, large side air curtains behind the front wheels and another behind the rear wheels to help cool the transmission and active anti-roll components, more dramatic side sills, 22-inch standard wheels with the option to upgrade to these enormous 23s. The brakes are strong too. Where the normal DBX has steel discs, the 707 is fitted with carbon ceramics as standard. 420mm up front with 6-piston calipers and 390mm at the rear with 4-piston calipers. The Lamborghini Urus has the edge here with slightly larger front brakes, but these are still extremely effective. And the 707 handles too. The recalibrated dampers give the car improved body control so it feels tight and cohesive through the corners, while the e-arc electronic anti-roll control system keeps the suspension as flat as you'd expect. It has real composure in the corners, excellent grip and traction, not to mention thrilling amounts of power. They've also changed some of the switchgear on this car, so instead of the rocker switch on the previous DBX for changing your drive mode, you now get a circular drive mode selector, which works pretty well. It lets you cycle between individual, GT, terrain, sport and sport plus. What I'm not a fan of is the sheer quantity of buttons on the center console. There's so many, so it's quite difficult to wrap your head around exactly what each of these buttons does. I'm also not a fan of this infotainment system, which is an Aston reskinned version of a very old Mercedes infotainment system, and it's slow, it's clunky, it's unresponsive. This isn't even a touchscreen, and even though it does have Apple CarPlay, I just don't think it's befitting of a £200,000 car. Luckily, a lot of that is really easy to forgive because the DBX is lovely to drive. It uses the same basic 3-chamber air suspension you get on the standard DBX, but this has been tuned ever so slightly to improve the body control. It doesn't feel like a boat, it rides nicely, the whole thing is tighter and more responsive. It actually feels a lot like a sports car. One of the DBX's tricks is a tweaked electronic limited slip differential, which has not only been strengthened to handle the torque increase, but also features a shorter final drive ratio, which helps the car accelerate more effectively in the lower gears. That, combined with the new ball bearing turbos, which spin up faster, help give the car a feeling of urgency that belies its size. You can obviously customize the color of the interior as you see fit, and I do love this green on the inside with a contrasting grey stitching. I think it goes really nicely with the exterior color, which Aston Martin calls titanium grey. Although, to my eyes, it's green, isn't it? When the DBX was first released, it was well received, but there weren't too many things an owner might brag about. It wasn't as luxurious as a Bentayga, as exclusive as a Cullinan, or as powerful as a Urus. It might have been more fun to drive than any of those cars, but you could argue there were more tangible reasons to pick almost any of the other six-figure luxury SUVs it competes with. But this is different. Cars like these, bigger is always better. What's the most expensive? What's the most powerful? What's the most exclusive? And with the DBX 707, Aston Martin has delivered a car that lets you have all the bragging rights you could ever need. Aston has delivered a car that gives you the numbers. And in this world, numbers are all that matters.